Welcome back to the Holy Shiftball podcast, the show where we challenge everything that you've been taught, told, made to believe about your mind, your energy, and reality. One cosmic giggle at a time. I'm Bethany, your energetic bestie, and usually alongside my fabulous co-host Sharon. But as you can see, Sharon is not present today. A little bit of, computer glitching. So we'll send her our love and we will have an amazing show. So today I get to talk to this fabulous being, Craig Sotkovsky. Is that correct?
Not even close.
Not even close. Well, well, would you say it so I can be aware of it?
Sure, Sotkovsky.
Sotkovsky, right?
Sure.
Is that like a
It's
quick question? Is that like a European or a Russian name?
Yes.
Yes.
Slovak.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. So, Craig, tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself.
Yeah.
My name is Craig Sotkovsky. I got I don't know, I have a message to humanity. It's simple as complexity. You don't have time. You just don't have time. I'm a 9/11 responder at the World Trade Center. I had developed lung cancer. They took my mid and lower lobe, my right lung out. Yeah, that's pretty much my story.
I would love to deep dive that whole conversation around 9/11 and being a responder. Now, did you said they told you had lung cancer, is that correct?
Yeah.
Was that from what you inhaled there that day?
One of the 68 cancers.
One of 68?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now,
what most people don't understand is there's tens of thousands that are sick and dying. Nobody really gives a shit. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Wow. What I find it so interesting that what do you even begin around that? How long were you in a responder?
2 days.
2 days. Wow, I bet you saw some shit.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild ride. I was
Yeah.
there 2 days of the first 5 days, and you had to be there 4 hours of the first 5 days to develop a sickness, I guess. I just hit the
Yeah.
wrong lotto.
You picked the wrong bingo card. Well, it's interesting, Craig. You said that hurt people hurt and healed people heal. What does that actually look like in real life? What does that mean?
It's messy. It's really messy. You have to heal yourself, you have to go through all the emotional buttons that the universe pushes, and once you have that magic glasses, you put them fuckers on. Dick Gregory talks about that. Once you put on those magic glasses, man, you can never take them off.
Oh my gosh, Craig, we talked about this on last week's show. I was telling, Sharon, when the universe gives you your universe glasses and you put those glasses on, you see reality for what it is, not for what it's told, and the thing about your universe glasses is once you receive them, you cannot give your glasses to anybody else and say, "Hey, this is how it is. You can wear my glasses and see reality." And it's so interesting that once you put these things on, your whole world, you can see the program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw the programming and realized that it took me a long time to realize exactly who I was. And once I found that location and put those glasses on, everything changed for my life. And instead of looking at, why was this happening to me? Look at it as why was it happening for me? And it was just like, wow, that's pretty interesting, you know?
It's so interesting that you say that because, like for me in my life, my only child was killed. And, there for that first year, I was like, totally deep in my grief and sorrow and hurt. And then my son began to communicate with me, and I had no idea that this was even a thing or even possible until I was able to really understand what the signs synchronicities were saying to me. And then when I started to how he came to me and told me and shared with me that how my thoughts, feelings, and emotions and belief systems were keeping me on a frequency, like cage. And, he was vibrating at such a higher rate that I was in this grief. And do you see how hard the space in between on a frequency to communicate? And I was like, oh my gosh, and so what became my biggest challenge, fear, hurt, challenge in life has been my absolute gift and has totally been the biggest gift that I could have possibly received.
Yeah, dial in that frequency. It's just, it's just a couple. You got to keep tweaking it a little bit until you hear that tone. Because the universe has a tone for you. Everybody's everybody's tone deaf. It's
Well,
it's strange.
well, it's interesting that, I was talking to Sharon, before the show, and it's interesting that what do we call the bottom of your shoes? The sole.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
you know, isn't it interesting that, God's creation is of earth, his creation, and to go receive the codes through his son, the SUN, and, to be able to acclimate and receive the energetic codes through grounding. And, we have not been told, um, hey, your book is called Everything Pays.
Everybody pays a vig.
In gambling terms, the VIG is the cost of playing the game. What's the VIG that consciousness charges us? And what happens when people refuse to pay it?
Well, that's exactly it. People. That was pretty cool. I like that. How to tell a question or answer.
Surprise!
So you have to become the house. You have to become the house because the house always wins, right? So we
Yeah,
have to spend time in our temple. This is the only real estate we could own. And once we tap into that quantum field, we dial ourselves in, things just change. Like the perception of things change. Instead of being in fear, you have no fear. Instead of just like kicking your own ass and having all of this self-doubt, you don't have any self-doubt. There's not,
yeah,
when death no longer scares you, there's a level up, and it's happened to me. I've been able to alchemize everything in my life, and just, I look around and I'm just like, wow, I get to do this.
yeah.
I
I
get to
know.
talk to people around the world
Yeah,
and just come up with quirky ideas about how we think and how we move and and somebody called me a thought leader, and I was like, I'm a fucking knucklehead from Jersey. What the fucking thought leader?
what dope are you smoking?
Like, what like, come on, man. I mean, this is simple shit. It really is. It's caveman stuff.
And it's interesting that, but once again, we weren't taught about energy, frequency, and
No, absolutely not. We were talking about listen to what I'm fucking telling you, or else I'm gonna beat the shit out of you with
right.
my wooden spoon.
Do this, be a good slave, be a good, be in stress, worry. And what is fear? Fear is false evidence appearing real. And what is so interesting is that, people don't even evaluate their thoughts. They take the thought as truth. And it's like, your mind will tell you, well, you're a piece of shit. Well, no, 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 I'm not. But when you think a thought that is of a lower frequency, you're putting that, because your mind, your thought is a energy. When you put that out into the quantum field, that frequency, and nobody was told about the power of the heart. The heart is the magnetics. The heart is what is pulling the experience to you. And everybody's operating out of the mind and wondering why their lives is total shit, because you're not even operating with the greatest piece of technology that this world's ever seen. You're operating through the mind, which will lie, manipulate, and tell you shit that's not real. But the heart, the heart sends so much data to the brain, more data than the brain does to the heart. So it's interesting that nobody has tapped in on that frequency of the power of the heart. And that's what shifts, awareness. That's what shifts you back into a sovereign being, and you're no more a victim of your reality.
But when you tap into epigenetics, right, and you start to understand exactly what heart and brain coherence is that light gets turned on. It's like
Mhm.
poof. It can never be turned off until we depart, right? And then it's like, so I find myself now more than ever, like my light is turned on and it pisses people's dark off. And I talk about crazy shit. I talk about I talk about, like
Real shit.
just understand, like people like, oh, do you watch baseball? No, I don't. I just don't. For me, I want to know about civilizations below the waterline. I want to know about the things that they haven't really taught me in school, which is probably everything. Turn on your
Yeah,
heart light. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm with you, man, because everything is energy frequency. And so when you go out into the collective and you are, absolutely thriving and vibing and you're in your own awareness and element, you're paying attention to everything. Yes, that energy, when you quantum entangle with another being coming into your field, that energy absolutely aggravates, agitates because it's not coherent. It's like, oh, and that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? If you're not thriving and vibing with me, hey, there is no offense because to operate on this frequency, yeah, you got to be conscious and aware because there's no victimhood around here.
Yeah.
Everything's for your benefit.
It
Everything's benefiting.
Everything is to your benefit. It
Everything.
really
Everything.
is. And when you learn how to manipulate,
Oh,
when you learn how to just move in a direction, like I was telling you before about this project, right?
yeah.
Like listen to this shit. This like just popped into my head. So I'm gonna take an RV, right? And I'm gonna go around the United States, 25 different cities, and I'm gonna talk about cancer awareness and mental health for the 9/11 25th anniversary. And I'm going to be interviewing 9/11 responders, cancer patients, and and I was just like, sounds interesting.
That
So
sounds like
I
fun.
so I did a GoFundMe, right? In one day, right? GoFundMe picked it up. 1% of GoFundMe picks up. And I was just like, "Holy shit! Like, what the fuck? This is
Look
what
what
I
I
should. This
created.
is what I'm. This is what." And the thing is, like, it's been on for like a couple weeks, right? And it's stagnant because I did it too early. Because I'm starting it in July, and I was like, "No, let me come up with this March 28th date and all of this stuff." And so I have to like chill out for a couple more weeks, and then blow it back up again. It's like, what the fuck, And I'm just sitting here. I'm sitting here and I'm talking to people about this, right? And it is just it's spiraling. It's growing. It's building, and it's like, holy shit, am I really prepared for this?
But isn't it interesting that you're operating out of your heart? This is something that this is a purpose. This is what you've experienced. And now you get to go and staying in the question, asking
Huh?
questions, seeing what others experience, not even with judgment. Just say, man, did you see that shit? You know what I mean? And sharing through your heart. And man, when you do that, all kinds of things show up.
Yeah, we're creating a documentary off of it. And
What?
it's like,
What? No, is there gonna be a documentary of you just,
huh?
like, totally vibing out in a
Yeah.
RV
And
going
I'm gonna do it like 3 or 4 iPhones, man. I'm not doing
Yes! You've gotta
and
come back on the show and, when you get all of this collaborated so we can really get behind you and share this awareness with people because this is absolutely fabulous. It sounds like
yeah,
so much fun.
it's never been done before.
No!
And it's like, I feel like I'm the perfect person for it.
You are,
I dialed
you are,
into my energy
you are.
and just why not? Why not? I want to know, people, there's so many people out there, right? That are going through something.
Mhm.
And it's like, we're not going through this shit alone. We think we are.
No.
When you're battling cancer, I mean, people don't talk about the people that walk away from you that have been around you for 30 years. The people that just don't want to see you sick. The
Mhm.
people that don't want to, they're all good intentions, but oh, look at you, you look amazing. Thanks, I'm fucking dying. I appreciate that.
Or
And
they're judging you, like,
um,
oh, you're, yeah, like you said, you're, dying, or, they don't have the awareness of what it take, what you're mentally, emotionally, going through. And so it's interesting that, because you won't be able to be manipulated through this, because
well, that's the whole thing. Yeah, it's you put a smile on your face,
I know it.
and just put the boots on and walk through the shit. Because
Yeah,
it's like there's going to be people coming for me, and I'm just like, who gives a shit? It's not your
yeah.
experience, it's mine.
I mean,
And
especially around that topic of 9/11. Yeah, that's interesting.
it blew my mind. I'm still thinking about that. I stood on top of the World Trade Center when it fucking fell, and it was like, wow, it's pretty crazy. I'm part of history, and it's like
Yes, you
I always thought I'd be famous for something I egotistically did in business or whatever. But it's just like, no, 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 that's
are.
not what we're going to
That's
use
not
you
it.
for. We're going to use you for this. It's like, oh, okay.
Ah! How, like, with the experience with 9/11 and cancer, how has that changed how you've understood, consciousness and awareness?
It's blown my top of my skull off.
Yeah.
I mean, it, you talk about 9/11, and it's a religion. It's its own fucking energy. It's its own field. Like like people have no idea. Like you can't. I couldn't say I was a first responder, right? And I understand why, because I was a volunteer.
Yeah.
Until the Justice Department was like, "Yeah, you were there. You could say you're a first responder." Because first responders are people that are doctors and
Mhm.
and paramedics and firemen and and police officers. So it's
Yeah.
like a very very sketchy area to get into. It's like, what the fuck? I was some idiot that showed up for 2 days.
Put
That
me
was
in,
it.
Coach. Put me in.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, once I was there, I never looked back until I started getting sick in 2012. Then it was kind of like, what might have happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, so now I'm on
Wow.
this crazy like ride.
Yeah.
I'm on this ride, and I'm
And
gonna
you
ride
are.
this fucker all the way out.
I mean, and you're on this ride and you're like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
This is what it is. This is what I've been through, and this is what I experienced. And you know what? Go fund me.
Go. So it's like I used to think of GoFundMe is like you're begging, right? It's like you're begging. It's like, come on, man, fund me, and it was like I started learning more about this, and
Yeah.
it's like, nah, man, this is
No.
like this is
It's
huge.
this is an energetic exchange. This is
Yeah,
energy coming behind you and say, "Hey," because that's all money is just energy. And once you're
energy
able
exchange.
to
It's
tap into the frequency of it,
yeah,
you can start to really hone in on it,
yeah.
um, and not look at it as a hinder, but oh man, this is gonna empower me. This is what I'm creating to see through this energy. And man, and then when you get behind your teams, your spirit teams, God, your source,
Oh, angel
however
to
you
the
want to,
left.
once you collaborate with them and say, okay, this is what I'm here to do, to step into my purpose, to share these awarenesses, man, it just keeps on. It's like, how does it keep getting better than this? And then you wake up the next day and it's like, oh shit, wow, I just outdid myself from
I
yesterday. Now, what?
I did.
Yeah,
And that's what it's like. It's like, I'm outdoing myself every day.
every
And
day.
it's like, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the worst shit you could possibly talk about. Mental health and fucking cancer. And it's like on top of that, 9/11. It's like, what the fuck? Why are you
Doom,
here? Why are
gloom.
you here? Right? And the thing is, I tell people about this meme, right? I have this meme, and it's a picture, and it's like this alien dude, this space dude, right? And he's like this. He's got two
Like,
guys on top of him, and they're just like, yeah, 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 yeah. And it's like,
obey,
oh my god, I gotta obey this shit.
obey.
And like I've already done 300 rounds of dimethyltryptamine, right? And they're just like, no, man, this is what you got to do. And I was told I was the most fucking stubborn human that they've ever dealt with, and all this shit.
No,
And I'm like,
no.
sure, this is this is interesting
This
as
might
fuck,
ring
man.
true. This might
Yeah,
ring true.
yeah, it's I've been told I'm a little difficult.
And that's okay. That's okay.
Come on, man. It's like we're sliding here. We're sliding.
I enjoy the thrill of it all.
Yeah.
Whee! I
Sick part is I did. I enjoyed it all.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, and Sharon and I were talking before the show. It's so interesting, like when people are on these blame game, fear, shame, all of this, that is a frequency, and it's so interesting that oh shit, I lost the train of thought. There it went. Out the door. Okay, so the teams don't want me to talk about that. Okay, great. So I'll shift gears. Do you ever get that? Like
brain farts all the time. All the time.
Yeah, it was like really good, and now it's gone. Yeah, and there it went. So I'm interested in 300 hits of
plus.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow, I bet you were tripping balls, huh?
I was actually like I was mentored by a Templar and in Mexico. And he sent me down so many rabbit holes, and I learned so much shit about just garbage. And yeah, just the most ungodly shit you've ever seen,
Yeah,
and I actually burned through 3 computers with Tor. And it was just like, whoa. And he used to tell me all the time, there's only one thing that can get you back, and it's dimethyltryptamine. And I was like, DMT, what the fuck is that? And one day I was going back to the United States, right? And a buddy of mine, he's like, hey man, have you ever heard of DMT? I was like, yeah. Matter of fact, yeah, just last year, for a whole year. And he's like, it's funny, I have a mint tin of this shit, and I have a mint tin of the MAOI inhibitor. And I was like, I want both of those. And what happened was I just went on an adventure for 2 years. And from what I understand, you can't get addicted to this shit, but I was just like, what the fuck? They just kept downloads. And the more I was going on them, the more I was getting downloads.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I've had similar conversations with people, and they're like, oh yeah, man, you got fucking chosen for something, because they don't just send you downloads, And it was like, I remember pixelization, where like every kind of symbol you could think of, every kind of fucking, like I was living in a matrix for a really long time until I discovered this matrix. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This all
no, that's
about?
real. That's real. Yeah. And it's so interesting when you connect to, like for me, when I connected to, the higher intelligent beings, it took, a few years to regulate my body, to get my mind, to get my emotions, to get everything in a frequency that was able to, receive the downloads and be able to, act upon what I was receiving, not, spinning out but yeah, it's so interesting that once I started to really ground out and start to work with the elements, that's when shit started be getting fun and entertaining.
But did it take you a little while to dial that shit in?
Well, shit, I was getting blown. I mean, literally blown energetically, because I was, receiving so much energy that, it took a while to calibrate, because there was so much coming into my electromagnetic field that, I would have to, be times that I would have to just literally go and lay in tubs of water, and to discharge, and then I would have to do salt scrubs, and then I would have to do lemon detoxes, then I would have there's so much coming in. And it was so interesting that right after my son, I started to receive these, and this was information that I had not ever known about. I mean, this was some powerful shit. And I was like, oh man, so I
How do you
started to write it down in a journal. And, I go back and look at that journal today and it's just like, holy shit, what was coming through was absolutely, you could, it's not, it's not on the realm.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious, like, how do you view your son's passing now?
Oh, my son's passing is such a gift. I
Okay.
haven't lost anything because here's the thing about it is that the body dies, the housing for the soul, for the spirit. But energy cannot be created nor destroyed, it only
Yeah.
transformed. So his spirit is, when he crossed out of the body, his spirit rose and went back to its original vibration of an elevated state because energy, it's up here. And so once I was able to be able to entangle and understand and connect with that frequency, that energy, that spirit, I could communicate with him just like I am with you right here,
Yeah.
right now.
That's
The
the
only
that's
thing
the
that
cool
is
part.
different is that I do not have the 3D eyes to see or the body to physically hold, but the being, the spirit, the energy, I connect with him just like I am with you right now. There's no time, there's no collapse in space, there's no nothing. It's just about calibrating to him to be able to receive, to talk.
It's amazing we can only see 1% of the spectrum, the light
We're
spectrum.
walking around here
There's
blind
90
as a fucking bat thinking we see something. We're
we
like, "Are
we're
you
so
serious? We
we
can't
are
see shit."
so fucking blind, right? We are so blind. We're ignorant as fuck. The things that we've been taught is all garbage. It's like,
Garbage.
what the fuck, man?
Garbage. It's
Yeah,
all garbage. It's all manipulation. It's all of a lower, denser frequency to keep you in that frequency bandwidth of, fear, worry, anxiety, to keep those lower dimensional beings, other energies that can connect, that can entangle with you, and so they can feed off of your energy.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And once
And
you
I
start, once you have those universe glasses on, Craig, and you can start to see and you read energy, it's like, oh shit. But we weren't taught about energy hygiene.
nah, no, because if we were, I mean, I walk in some rooms, man, and I just fuck. I just walk in some rooms, right? And it's like, yes, here. Everybody fucking pay attention. Listen to what I'm telling you, right? Because you walk in, and everybody just goes, "Who the fuck is that?" Like, what the fuck is that?
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly, man. I got like 15 different heads. Come
Mhm.
talk to me. You
Yeah.
know,
And,
I,
and
I
you
used to
know,
be.
it's so interesting when you're not operating out of, and I know you're not, when you don't operate out of ego, it's just like the energy commands the space. And and once you know and believe and sense and see and gather just how fucking powerful you truly are.
Oh, you walk in. You walk. I walk in every place I walk in. I own the fucking place. And then sometimes I'll walk in and be like, "Hey, you know what? I just shut it off."
Well, it,
And that blows my mind even more because it's like, holy shit! Like I could see how meetings will happen before,
mhm, mhm.
and 99.9% of the time I'm correct. I mean, somebody might be glitching or something. Like, you ever seen
Oh,
somebody glitch? What the
oh,
fuck? I'm like, I'm like, look at, I'm like, looking at this person. I'm just like, you just glitched. What the
oh,
fuck was that about? And it's like, oh, wait a minute. My daughter calls them NPCs, non-playable characters, and I'm just like, there've been some real people in my life
no,
that have been NPCs.
no, and that's exactly, they are a frequency to hold into 3D structure of, and that's exactly, and once you're a pattern recognizer, you can read the pattern, and they're not saying anything new. It's just like
Just bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's like my bullshit detector, right? You walk in somewhere and you're listening to people talking, and I'm just like, I'm listening. Uh-huh. Yeah. And the only thing I have in my head is bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
and that's the thing, like with me, my friend, I just sit back and I'm just aware. I'm not sitting here like judging them. I'm just laughing uncontrollably, inside, I'll just be like, "That's so interesting, really? Wow!" And and it's so funny because you can really see when someone's trying to project that fear mongering, that worry.
That's the whole thing. That's their emotional insecurities. That's like all of that negative shit, all of that lower vibrational stuff.
You can't
And
do
they're trying to like jack it up.
it. Mhm.
And it's like, nah, man, sorry. No, it's just not happening. And the
Yeah.
conversation's going nowhere. And this is pretty
If you would
dull
have
and
met me maybe
boring.
10 years ago, I'd have totally played in on this. Yeah, we could have really been some buddies. But once and I do you find it interesting that, to energetically to run that worry, stress, anger, worry about money, job, points of
Adrenaline and cortisol. That's all it is,
it's all,
man.
how much of your energy does it take to be in that lower frequency?
It takes more energy now to be in that lower vibration
Mhm.
than it does taking this conversation to the next level is so much easier. Getting into that low vibration brings me down to a different fucking level. It zaps my energy, and
Mhm.
that's why it's like I don't even go there anymore. I refuse to.
And
I
it's literally
refuse
like
to.
you have to copy, paste, fold yourself
Yeah, exactly.
energetically, and you're collapsing in on yourself, and it literally starts to physically get uncomfortable because you're having to, contract in so much to be a part of their reality, not yours. But it's just like, and it's just difficult because from now vibing into those higher states, that gratefulness, that excitement, that joy, that fun, that compassion, that to me in my field physically is expanding out, and my heart's expanding out. Your third, everything's expanded out, and you're like, oh my gosh, because what you put out is what you get back. I was telling
Sure, they got to level up.
I
They
was
got to
telling my
level up.
client,
I'm not.
you
I don't
remember
bring
you
myself
remember when we
down.
were kids and you would say, "I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever bounces off me sticks
Yeah.
on you." That's exactly it. You know what I mean? What kind of human are you? What kind of reflection are you putting out? Because what you put out is what you get back.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy this experience. I
Yeah.
really do. Everything that I've been through, everything.
Yeah.
I take it all. And I
And
look at it as
grateful
like
for it
this
all.
magical. No, 100%. I used to hate waking up because I'd be in so much pain.
Mhm,
Then I'd be in so much fucking mental pain.
mhm.
Then I'd be in like just the physical pain alone would drive me absolutely fucking crazy.
Yes.
Until until I learned about the epigenetics, man. When I learned about the quantum field and all of this fucking loopy shit, I used to like, man, I'm going crazy. I used to be like, what the fuck am I even thinking about? Like what is this next level thing? I always used to feel that I was different.
Mm.
Always. Always. Always used to get myself out of trouble, all of that shit. And till I started doing the DMT, man, and that took the top of my head off. It really did.
It
And
did.
it filled me. It filled me with things that I can't even describe. I'm still processing. And
Yeah.
this has been over fuck 12 years.
That's
No,
so
easy
amazing.
12 years.
That's so amazing, Craig. I mean, your story, what you're doing now to bring a new frequency into these lower dimensional, worry, anger, all of this stuff around 9/11, all of the travel, all of the awarenesses that you're bringing, you are that ripple effect into these spaces and places that is going to shift other beings, frequency, their fields. So I am
I
beyond grateful for you.
I really do. I appreciate everything that I've gone through.
I do too.
But to take all like the marketing and the planning and all of this shit to just start laughing, going, all right. So when I start this is what I have to do. I have to go to the press of Atlanta because that's where I'm starting, right? And then as soon as I do the press in Atlanta, mainstream podcasts, all of that, then I go to the next town. But before the next town, I'm going to set up for myself coming into that town, and then so on. By the time I get to the fifth city, I should have this thing rolling. I should have this thing rolling
And
because
also, you've got some pretty, amazing people backing you, and that energy, but that's rallying behind you without a desired outcome. It's just like, look, let's just see how fun will be.
I have the only outcome I have, seriously, and I don't come to conclusions or anything, right?
Right.
The only outcome I have is just rolling up to Good Morning America on September 11th, 2026. That's it. They don't even know it yet. They don't even know it yet.
And that's gonna be, you know what, we are here, cheering you on. Your teams are cheering you on. We are cheering you on, and this is gonna be something so powerful. And I am beyond grateful to be able to have this conversation with you, Craig. Where can people connect and learn more about your work?
CraigSotkovsky.com. I send everybody to. Yeah, it's right there on the
Yeah,
list.
right there. Well,
Yeah,
Craig, you are an amazing, divine, powerful being, and I am beyond grateful for to share my energy and be able to be in your heart space today. Thank you so much for being on the show.
thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. If this episode is something that you've enjoyed, like, follow, and share, and drop a comment. And we will see you next Thursday. And remember, when life kicks you in the balls, be sure to tune in to your Holy Shiftball podcast, where we turn that shit into a shift. All right. Thanks. See you next Thursday.